Hello, good evening, and welcome. I'm Simon Bestwick.
And I'm Gemma Files, and this, of course, is No
No
Darkness,
darkness, but
ours.
so today's episode is a little bit different. We've got a team of three creatives online with us today. We've got Sarah Peploe, Gavin Mitchell, and Fraser Campbell, who are the co-creators of a graphic novel, The Berg. Guys, I understand that this there's actually a Kickstarter is in progress to fund the publication and distribution of The Berg.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it is quite something. The funny part is that I am not a stealth fan of Graham Masterton, but it's Graham Masterton, and one of the things that I came across in one of his books was indeed a fatberg in the sewers. And that was the moment where I went, wow, you have found it. You have found the one thing that is the grossest thing on the face of the earth, particularly because it's real.
Yes. I think I apologise for offending Sarah yesterday when I did ask if the idea of a gigantic mobile fatberg that killed people might have been inspired by Boris Johnson, and of course I do apologise for.
Yeah, I was very insulted on behalf of the fatberg.
Well, I can totally. So, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure I want to know the answer to this question. But where did this idea come from? What was the genesis of this story?
Well, I suppose it started off with a conversation between me and Fraser at a pub after a Comic-Con in Glasgow a few years ago. And then, well, before that, I had watched a documentary about fatbergs. I don't know if it's still available on 4OD. It's called Fatberg, Secrets of the Sewer. And it was really good. And it had this kind of, I don't know, there was something about the kind of depiction of the goopy horror, and that it had this almost Carpenter-esque soundtrack that I think kind of stuck with me and made me think, like, yeah, I want to do this. Oh, cool. I want to make something of this, and yeah, Fraser was interested, and we just started pinging ideas back and forth.
So just to elaborate for those who don't know, a fatberg is a gigantic. It's kind of like the fat equivalent of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It happens when people dump way too much noxious animal fats down in the sewer, and a berg starts to form, and eventually it sucks everything else that goes down the sewer into itself. Condoms, garbage, toilet paper.
You name it, basically.
Yeah.
If it's gross, then it will usually collect itself, and in the Berg we have a fatberg that is not only fucking enormous but also sentient and hostile. And one thing I really liked was it's the parallel between the fatberg is kind of physically, it's a kind of accumulation of literally all the shit that we don't want, but also that's how it functions on a psychological level as well. It kind of accumulates, it kind of stores up all the things about, all the memories, all the things about people that they would really rather pretend don't exist, and
all the human nastiness and misery
all
the
sort of negative psychic energy that it encounters as well.
That we tend to quote flush away, or attempt to flush away. And I loved in that first section, even before we sort of encountered the Berg itself, when the team descends into the sewer, almost immediately people start to, the relationships between people start to break down, because it's as though everything negative has gotten hyped up to 11, and lovely.
Yeah, it's like the sewers are this space where that, you know, that can't be ignored, and it's in the air, it's in the sort of shitty particle infused air they're breathing.
Oh, you don't want to fall down here.
Yeah, because things will. You've had a goggle. Was it had a goggle breach? I think someone says to somebody. It's just.
Oh my God! Yeah, I mean, and of course, you know, this is perfect because you're already playing with a thing that very few people have done, but almost nobody wants to do, which is to go down and work in the sewer.
Yeah.
So people are already on the edge of going like, oh God, what does it smell like down there? Oh, don't touch that.
We did talk about having scratch and sniff as a stretch goal for the Kickstarter, but apparently that's, like, you know, economically unfeasible.
Yeah, just a little bit too expensive, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe in the next one.
Yeah.
The world's against us.
A form of dead technology that many people, I'm sure, have not heard of. But
yeah,
yes.
it's a certain age to remember scratch and sniff.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that retro now? Oh God.
Well, I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
I'm still in shock when people sort of talk about the 90s as being something that was a while ago. It's like, what are you talking about?
Oh, it's your 90s vibes. And I'm like, yeah, I was 25, man.
It's like, what do you mean it was? No, wait a minute. I kind of feel like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. It's like, no, wait a minute. That would make me 50.
It would make you far too old for this ass.
I'm sure quite a few of the characters in the Berg would probably feel the same.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all fundamentally too old for this shit. Except maybe Jaden, but, you know, I think even he feels like he's too old for this shit.
Yeah, to be fair to them, it's too much shit for anybody, really.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a
kind of mixture, isn't it? The team's a mixture of veterans and a newbie and a kind of fish out of water sort of management type who's going down with them to make sure that they're doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. But yeah, the sort of bulk of the team, or certainly the two main guys in the team, know their stuff and have been around the U-bend a few times.
You've been saving that, haven't you?
It literally just came to me, Gavin.
That's why you get the big bucks.
Because we've been speaking toilet metaphors for a fortnight now, just trying to promote the book, you know.
Yeah, it just comes out.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Colin, the letterer, has been doing beautiful turd-related puns and sewer-related puns. He just keeps coming.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
We're doing stuff like, you know, I'm doing tweets like, you know, are you feeling flush? Why not walk down on the Berg? All that kind of nonsense, you know. It's just, you know.
I'm reminded of I was reading part of Simon Callow's autobiography, and he was talking about how when he was in the play Mary Barnes, which is kind of an account of a journey through madness, and there's a scene where the title character basically appears covered in her own excrement. And because it's quite an intense play in many respects, and a kind of gallows humour develops, and so people there was kind of a competition to come up with the best title for that particular scene, and the best Simon Callow could come up with was Diarrhea of a Madwoman.
Nice.
Contributed Close Encounters of the Turd Kind.
I'll definitely find a way to work that into the promo.
Yeah.
I'm having that one.
Encounters of the Turd.
Yeah.
Anything to do with sewers in London reminds me of one of my favorite books of all time, which is a compilation of penny dreadful newspapers and various stories printed from, I think, 1870 something to 1890 something. And the guy who compiled them goes through them and compares and contrasts them with sensation literature of the time. You know, it's like, does terrible things happening create a need for sensation literature, etc. And it's called Black Swine in the Sewers of Hampstead.
Well,
yes, because the idea was that there were pigs that lived down in the sewers. How they'd gotten there, I don't know, but they'd gone down there to eat crap, and eventually they became gigantic and feral, and if you went down into the sewers of Hampstead, you might get eaten by the black swine.
So that was a precursor of the whole crocodile in the toilet. That's fascinating.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I guess it was easier to get a piglet down a pig back then.
I mean, pigs are.
If you'd lost something down a grate, perhaps, you know, you'd lost a shilling. So you just send your piglet down there to fetch it back.
I mean, pigs would be able to practically anything, and for being, you know, sort of quite comfortable wallowing in excrement. So it's kind of.
Perfect.
Yeah, and if they go fat, I mean, when you hear enough about wild boar to know that it's not quite as it's just there's just enough believability to the idea to think, well, you know, maybe this could actually, there might be some grain of truth in that. I mean, we because recently, I mean, the moment we're still sort of serializing it on the podcast. Gemma and I did a thing about underground horror. And now the recurring thing, you know, you're down under the surface of and especially in an urban context, under the surface of the city, there are all these layers of history, and there's all this infrastructure that we don't know about, and maybe would rather pretend we don't. We'd rather.
Yeah, we had gotten as far as talking about subway systems. We hadn't quite gotten as far as talking about sewer systems. And listen, I congratulate you guys, because I don't think there's enough sewer horror.
No, there isn't, is it? And, you know, they are.
Yeah.
It's a very, I think, you know, this is what me and Fraser were talking about initially, that it's such a rich, shitty vein of horror. And the things that you talk about when you talk about horror, like you say, you know, the repressed, the underground kind of class stuff, like, you know, who has to go down and literally deal with this shit, and that there's kind of a parallel with like the pipes of the human body, and you know, all the things we hate to think about happening in our own bodies that happen every day.
There's this real feeling in Canada that you know, you're either the plumber or the person who calls for the plumber. You know, it's like, and it's really important to be the person who calls for the plumber, even though plumbers make a lot of money. So I don't.
Especially because everyone wants to be the person who calls for the plumber. I mean, it's one of those. I mean, it's kind of one of those kind of taboos that we've, and it's kind of really interesting because it'd be far less of a taboo about sex, for example. I mean, that's what that has
unclogging the pipes.
That's kind of broken down, but it's still. I mean, you know. We're okay with seeing sexual activity on screen, but unless you're James Franco, people pooping on screen is kind of. I'm as somebody who watched like the first 5 minutes of Child of God, and was kind of like, fuck off. Okay, no, I'm out. we were not prepared for that. You know, it was just kind of like, what did I just? Okay, no. But I know it is a natural function, but it's something that a lot of us kind of prefer to pretend isn't anything to do with us, I think, a lot of the time.
No, that's
such a fundamental animal thing, because you feel vulnerable when you're having a crap. Like,
I mean, you know, you can run while peeing if you have to. You just like clench it up, run away. You know, trailing behind, but nobody can really do that when they're in the midst of having a dump.
There's a David Rudkin play called The Triumph of Death, where yes, you read that, yeah. I mean, the stage directions, like this insane poetry, but a whole bunch of that revolves around that whole kind of taboo about, well, partly about the taboo of that as of defecation, as part of it, as kind of revulsion against the body and a rejection of that animal nature, and of the recognition of mortality that kind of goes
the
with.
Pope does not shit. There is no, it's like, but also it has to do with Luther and his obsession with with fighting the devil in the Kazi, with having ginormous farts that he thought that the devil had inflicted him with. I mean, listen, I'm not making this stuff up. It's actually part of the whole Lutheran thought, which is weird because I think of myself as a Protestant more than anything else. But there was that part of me that's like, dude, why?
Yeah.
But then again, back in the Middle Ages, your house could be partially made of shit, and you just have to deal with it. During the winter, people would bring the animals into the house with everybody else. And, it's like, oh, well, on the one hand, it's much warmer with the animals there, and you can always throw the crap on the fire. On the other hand, the animals are crapping all the time. Yeah.
I live with 2 dogs, so it feels like not much has changed.
That's true.
Just not packing the walls
and
with
that
shit.
part of you that goes, man, the Romans had sewers. It's like, why did it take us so long?
I mean, another thing that I kind of noticed is one of the characters is sort of saying in the Berg that the sewage system, which is this is something that's getting on for 200 years old now, as designed by Bazalgette, and it was designed for a much smaller population, a much smaller input than it's actually having to deal with now. And in much the same way, there's only so much human interaction that people can take. I think is the same character says this idea that we're being basically destroyed by an overplus of our own shit is and
the overwhelming understanding that more than 150 people are shitting near you. You're being forced to smell the crap of more than 150 other people. It's like, it will drive you insane.
What about the accumulation of sort of psychic detritus, really, isn't it? And how that affects you mentally. I should say, obviously the Berg isn't a sewer, but it doesn't have people crapping all the time. It's not that kind of comic.
Yes, I'm sorry to give that impression.
No, I don't think that.
It became to a different kind of specialist market.
Is this a kink comic?
No, there's far more pink than brown in the Berg, shall I say?
I don't know if that necessarily helps.
Yeah, where's that on the Bristol chart?
I'm lowering the tone of the conversation, but I think Gemma, we may have outdone ourselves on this one, Gemma.
It was already in the gutter at this point.
Well, kind of
below the gutter.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, we started there with nowhere else to go, really.
Exactly. No, but I totally agree. It is about negativity, and it is about the. I guess the fact is that all of us, as people who work in horror and as creative people, probably, and as humans, it's like there's a certain amount of negative thought that builds up in your brain over a day, over an hour, over a year, whatever. And often you do feel that you have to just get rid of it. And yet, how do you get rid of it? You cannot actually flush your brain. It's like all you can ever say to yourself is, well, let's not think about that right now.
Or you can provide you put it in something that you're.
That's true. That's one way to flush it, and then it's everybody else's problem. But yeah, I mean, I love I love the character work in this.
Yeah.
And I love the relationships, or, you know, and even the relationships that don't seem to work are still relationships, and they're relationships that are very familiar to us. The reversal of care issue, for example, you know, where you have to start caring for a parent and you have to step in and do all the things that they should, quote, quote, be doing for you. Or the two brothers who don't talk to each other, like literally they work together, but they don't talk to each other.
Yeah, that's it.
One of them says something, the other one will go, "What did he say?" And someone in the middle has to sort of translate. Yeah. And we've all known people like that, in the same way that a lot of us have had terrible fast food jobs, which is the other end of this.
Yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
So how much research did you do for this?
Well, there was the documentary, and I suppose other than that, a lot of it just came from kind of observed human interaction. Because I mean, in the, you know, when we're in the realm of freaky, goopy horror, like, well, fuck it, we could just go with whatever is the most disgusting and disturbing at any given moment.
Yeah, definitely. But that's only half of it, because, and as we all know, you know, if you don't care about the people who are getting, you know, sucked into the Berg or taken apart from the inside, or, you know, possessed, or, you know, whatever, melted, then it's all a bit of an exercise in grotesquerie, grand guignol, sometimes without the guignol, and yeah, I really love the attention that was paid to making these people real and making us care about them.
Yeah, I really like the character. I would like to. I mean, it's one of those things that has the feeling this is something that could be expanded. You know, as you know, I certainly. Although
the Berg,
I mean,
too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you give us a lot with these. There's a lot to like with these characters. I was going to say a lot to chew on, but I really don't want to discuss that end of the alimentary process when we're focused very much on the other.
Form a movie a strip of plumbing.
Human centipedes or something. But you know, I mean, it's. You know, I mean, part of me was thinking, my God, imagine the Netflix adaptation where, you know, you've got, it gets turned into 8 episodes, one focusing on all the different, and, you know, you can really see that working. I mean, do you feel the story's complete as it is, or is this something you would want to expand, or, you know, or produce some kind of follow-up to, or is it just complete and as it is, do you feel?
Well, I mean, I think it stands alone fine, but I think we're all quite excited about the possibility of sequels and expansion, exploring some of the other characters and terrible things that could be about to happen. Because while it stands alone, that doesn't mean that, of course, that everything is neatly tied up. Quite the opposite.
Well,
so yeah.
Yeah, maybe not go too deep into that, but yes, there is a nice a nice sort of trailing end left a bit. No, that sounds bad too.
I think the story the story we've done. You do sort of one shots in indie comics, basically because it's, you know, getting the whole story out there in a one-er is kind of like a selling point, really, because you know, if you're an indie comics, you never know really when you're going to be able to fund the next issue, or you know, have time to organise the next issue. We all have jobs, etc. So you don't really want your readers hanging around for the next issue, says the guy who has 2 series on the go, but never mind. But yeah, so one shots are attractive for that reason, and I think I like the economy of it. I like that. That's one of the challenges of writing a done in one story that I like, where you have to create sort of rounded characters, but you have very limited space to do that in. And I think that's a really good, yeah, I enjoy the challenge of that. It's fun.
Absolutely.
But I think you could expand the story as it is if you wanted to. Like you said, if Netflix want to come along and do that, then that's fine by me. But also,
spurn your money, sir. I spurn it.
No, I would not spurn it at all. I need money. What's the next man? I'm sure we would all immediately go corporate. But I think we all have. I know I have ideas for follow-ups. I think we all have one or two. We haven't really discussed it yet in any detail. But I have follow-ups, including an idea for a kid's story. Which I haven't told the guys about yet, but I'll so that there might be more in future. We'll see how it goes. You never know.
Well, you guys seem to work together really well as a team, and even to just go on to something else. It's like we've done the sewers now. It's like mountains.
Guys, I've got an idea for pigs in the sewers.
Yeah, well, pigs. Yeah, I like that idea.
That's it. Skyscrapers.
Gavin, I would love to see your Victorian sewer pigs comic. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, that would do.
Yeah.
I'd love you to write it, Sarah.
London is a great setting for this guy because there's so much history. There's so many different layers. There's so much buried and abandoned stuff. You can do a hell of a lot with that.
There's so many Londons as well. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many versions of London that exist simultaneously.
Exactly.
It's just such a it's such a blend of people and experiences and and what you say the history, the depth of history, isn't it? Is it in London where there's a segment cut out where you can see where Boadicea.
Yeah, the red layer.
Yeah.
Burns the city to the ground. There's
back when it was Londinium.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's there's all manner of stories you can tell from what you say, a Victorian version. You can do a Roman version. You can Edwardian, whatever you want to do. Really,
do the full ass Alan Moore. Segments of time thing.
The Berg through the ages. Yeah, the League of Extraordinary Bergs.
You could even do another version set in France. You could, the Burgers of Calais.
Yeah.
Nice.
Le Berg.
Sorry, I saw the pun and I just couldn't resist.
There's sewers everywhere, so
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, there are sewers
everywhere. Wherever people are, there's got to be somewhere some sort of system to let you poop. So
there's a hole in the ground.
The stories. In theory, we could tell a story anywhere in any time period, really.
Actually, one of the things that I learned when I was I didn't study archaeology, but I was very into archaeology for a long time, was that you often start with places where people discard things, and whether it's a garbage heap or a midden, it's like stuff that just fell in while I was crapping, and it tells a story. It tells a story of the city from its beginning to its end.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's just ordinary detritus that people throw away, just so you can tell. Yeah, like you said, that record that can often again go on a psychological. You think about the sort of psychological parallels. All the segments of the stuff we all the stuff we try to discard actually says a lot more about us than we might be comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's the whole idea of the stuff that we flush away, sort of gaining sentience and coming back to coming back as the damage we're causing to our own world.
That's absolutely true. I've been interested in the sort of rise of I guess psych speak in popular culture. a lot of people in therapy, adopting various modes of speech that maybe are better kept for for in session than out. But the rise of people who are like, yeah, you know, that relationship was toxic. I had to get rid of it. And you're like, the relationship with your mom? The relationship, it's like you just cut her completely off. You know, it's like you're never going to talk to her again. Your mother, the person that you are closest to in the world. I mean, you know, sometimes you have to do that, but at the same time, can you actually ever do that? And the way that people are just, you know, so quick to get involved with each other and then to disentangle. It's just like chop. It's like, all right, well, we're done. You know, it's like, what about the kids? Well, too bad. It's like, goodbye.
You know, it's one of the aspects of it as well. As I say, there's a lot of pain and anger out there that manifests itself in various ways. And it's just, yeah, to me, yeah, it's, as I say, just sort of pulling together. Yeah, it was a good way of sort of pulling that in and making it a physical thing that came, you know, that accumulates and comes back to haunt us, kind of thing, as a people. You know, to
exteriorize the interior.
Yeah. It was. We put it out there in the form of negative energy, and it feeds into the Berg. Yeah. You know, that's what kind of animates it, really. The self-loathing and the hate and the enmity.
Well, it's also a bit like a fly-like parasite that's, you know, most interested in the decaying parts of ourselves. Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot. It's kind of horror, really, when you think about it. Take all the peel off all the dead parts of yourself and make a little story about them.
Well,
delicious blue cheese.
It's a grand tradition of horror stories where you know, the real monster is, you know, we created them. You know, we create our own monsters. You know, it's
absolutely
those lines. Maybe not usually as pink and gooey, but you
know. No, not usually as pink and gooey and full of enzymes. So, what are you guys doing next as individuals?
Question. Well, Sarah, you've got a new book coming soon. It's also part of the Kickstarter, haven't you?
Oh yeah, Offshore. This is
nice.
A bit more kind of, I suppose, mildly experimental. It's horror comic with no dialogue in it, and it's also liquid related but not sewer related. It's a woman on one of those giant unicorn inflatable things that you get. She's like, you know, out for a day at the beach, a bit drunk, just kicking back on this unicorn inflatable, and just kind of floats out to sea. Well, she's dozed off, and it's about the things that she sees out there.
Wow. That's great.
And it's all in crayon, so if you like comics that look like they were drawn by disturbed children, then back the Kickstarter.
I can see it. Fraser?
Very well. I'm usually spinning quite a lot of plates. Being the writer in comics is easy because you just dash off scripts and then you expect all these super talented people to make it look great. So I've got a new issue of my series Alex Automatic, which is a sort of sci-fi spy comic about a secret agent who's had experiments done to him, so he thinks he's in a TV show when he's actually carrying out genuine missions. And is drawn by James Corcoran, who's working on the 6th issue of that at the minute. And the next thing I'm actually going to be writing, though, will be a sort of space set horror comic. Again, quite fungusy and horrible. And that's going to be with Gustavo Vargas, who's
nice.
Peruvian artist who lives in Edinburgh, and we've become good pals over the last couple of years. So we're going to be working on that together as soon as I can make some time to get some stuff down on paper. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, perfect.
Any potential Berg sequels.
That's right. And you, Gavin?
I'm just waiting for the Berg sequel. Like, so my slate's clear. just waiting for you guys. No, I'm developing an idea with Andrew Maxwell, who I also did a few issues of Rum Row with, which was a steampunk sort of Prohibition era comic. It's not really much I can say about it at the moment. I could give you the working title. It's currently called Violence and the Bastards of Carnage.
Okay.
That's
sounds deconstructive.
We have my attention.
It's gonna be it's my sort of love letter to fight comics and sort of like Fist of the North Star and that sort of outrageous operatic kind of anime. So yeah.
Oh, perfect. This all sounds amazing.
Gemma and I both read the comic and both really liked it. It's wonderfully gritty and filthy and weird. But I feel, I mean, in the sense of it's down in the series, I don't mean this like I don't. We as I say, we need to probably need to clarify. It's not that kind of filth. It's the kind of.
Yeah, I would say.
We missed a trick. Should we have just been doing like Tijuana Bibles about fatberg?
Yeah. A sexy bird.
I kind of like Berg influenced Tijuana Bibles, kind of like Thing influenced Tijuana Bibles. It's like I don't know what this is. Was this 2 people once? 3 maybe?
Tijuana hentai. This is
We've got tentacles.
Yeah.
Oh, the tentacles.
If anybody's watching or listening, and I would say go and have a look just for the sake of having a look at Gavin's artwork, which is just fantastic. So,
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Even if it's something that doesn't appeal to you story-wise, have a look anyway because it looks amazing. I think we're quite happy with the story, but you know, it certainly looks great as well.
In terms of the script writing, that was Fraser and Sarah. That was you as a collaborative effort. So how did that actually work? I mean,
it was dreadful. Just fights all the time. No, it was really easy. We batted ideas back and forth for a while, and then I sort of knocked together a basic outline and some of the early character work, and we just sort of took it from there. And when we started scripting, I think Sarah started it off, did a few pages, and then we just kind of, you know, it was kind of 4 pages each, really, wasn't it? Or until we kind of tag teamed it until we were done, and then we just sort of polished it up together. It was really a lot of fun.
It was, yeah.
Cool.
I'm glad you said that as well.
Otherwise, you'd have had to wonder forever.
But yeah, it was great. And then you know, that was you do that. I like doing these kind of things in stages. So you do that, and then you're like, oh, let's try and find an artist. And then we managed to get Gavin, and and then when Gavin was finished, we got Colin in. He's an old friend of mine. And along the way, Gavin got JP in to help do some flats, and it's just everybody in the team is great and really nice, and we've all had a really good time doing it.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, can I ask, how long did the process take from kind of beginning to end?
Quite a long time though, Sarah?
Long time, because there was like I had like, when they were done, they gave me the script, and then I had like a year break because I was exhausted and burnt out from doing Rum Row. So that took a chunk of time. But then I don't know, how long did the artwork take? Like 6 months, 8?
Well,
longer?
But,
9?
I mean,
was it another year?
Kind of 18 months from the time we got in touch with you, I think. But yeah. You weren't long once you got going.
No.
Yeah. Once the momentum got going, it was fine. But yeah,
how long is it? I mean, from conception to writing, it took a while, because we were busy with other stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
and then
maybe even a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the idea and then start writing it the next day. It was one of these things that sort of lingered in the air for a while.
Festered.
Yeah. Which you need something like that to fester.
A bad smell. So yeah, it did take quite a while to come together. But then once it started coming together, it came together quite quick.
Gathered momentum.
Built up.
It just wouldn't stop.
Like,
just kept coming.
Like all the best turds, it came together.
This is it's all about diet. You get enough creative all brand down you, and
Fiber.
And there's the tone going. There's the tone there. Big thanks to our guests, Sarah Peploe, Fraser Campbell, and Gavin Mitchell. There's a link below in the description of the episode to the Kickstarter for the Berg. Do go and check it out. It's a really excellent comic, really original and funny and dark and just twisted. And if you're the kind of person who listens to our podcast, you'll probably love it.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll love it as much as we did.
Exactly. And obviously check out everything else these guys do, because they're very cool people, clearly. No Darkness But Ours is made possible through generous donations from horror enthusiasts just like you. If you'd like to support us, you can sign up to our Patreon and get access to exclusive content, or you can make a one-off donation via Ko-Fi. Links in the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments, share and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the like button if you're watching us on YouTube. Let us know as well if there's anything you'd really like to hear us talking about in the future, and we'll be back with more at the same time next week. We will be back soon with another interview or with another discussion of some element of horror, or we'll find something to talk bollocks about for half an hour or so at a time. You know what we're like. Until then, I have been Simon Bestwick.
And I remain Gemma Files. And this, of course, remains No Darkness. But ours.
Don't forget to flush.